Isn't life a strange thing? Justine burst into the house as I was finishing my coffee and stood in the doorway. You like it? She was wearing a new blouse, something between pink and orange. It's beautiful. It's the first time I've ever worn it. It's called Autumn Rose. It's the color of this winter. I see it now. It's exactly the color of, well, that rose. Her pale blonde hair was tucked up in a bun. She was ready for work. Underneath her blouse was a white bra, a gray business skirt an inch above the knee, exposing her legs, and gray shoes completed the ensemble. She looked stunning, as always. The next afternoon, I got a call from Dennis. John Edge. Johnny, what are you doing tomorrow? Dennis, when are you going to stop calling me Johnny? I'm sorry, mon ami. I forgot. You are forgiven. The answer is that I don't do much. Justine will be at the hairdresser's all morning. That's fine. Please come to my place. What restaurant will you be at? I'll be at the Blue Guitar. Dennis has been a friend of mine for decades. He's short, stocky, and French. That's why the pronunciation is Denis, like in the Blondie song. We met in middle school and were both big fans of the Moody Blues. And we still are. Like many mild-mannered men, I have an angry streak that I usually manage to control. But one incident in high school life threw me off balance. We were in class, waiting for the math teacher, and several kids were pissing Dennis off by chanting, "Oui, oui," mimicking his French accent. It escalated to pushing and shoving. Then one of them kicked him in the balls. Dennis fell to his knees, grabbing his groin. The bully went back to his table with an innocent look, and the rest of the onlookers scattered. I walked over to the asshole as I remembered Graham Lane and opened his desk. Look. While he looked at his textbooks, I pushed his head into the open desk and slammed the lid on the back of his head. Silence reigned in the classroom. Then I did it 2 more times and returned to my seat. He sat up, clutching his face, blood streaming from his nose. He rushed to the door just as our math teacher walked in. What happened? Mr. Patrick asked. No one answered for a while. Then one of Graham's buddies answered, He had a nosebleed, sir. Really? A lip, too? He never complained, of course. Even assholes must obey unwritten school rules. To this day, Dennis Moraz thinks he owes me. Today, he has 7 restaurants all over the city. The first was Sur la Mer, mostly seafood, and the most recent is 7th Sojourn. Each has its own style. Justine has never been interested in French cuisine, and she doesn't like Dennis very much either. She reluctantly came with me when the first restaurant opened, but hasn't gone since. I've visited them all, and my favorite is still the first one. It does wonders with seafood. We met in the one with a blue guitar hanging on every wall, the only one with no obvious French. If you didn't know, you wouldn't be able to find common ground with the others. And those who are fans of it, like me, like to point out that Blue Guitar isn't really a Moody's track. I'll get right to the point, mon ami. Is this Justine? He held out his phone to me, on which a picture popped up. She was wearing a new pink-colored blouse, so the picture must have been taken 2 days ago. The man had a dark beard. Yeah, that's her. Maybe I'm speaking out of place, but I think she's having an affair. We sat down and the waiter brought us coffee. What makes you think that? You know me. I observe people. I observe body language. My waiters told me that these 2 dine here every week, and they alternate Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Lack of regularity breeds regularity, right? Go on. He looks like her boss. He does. I met him once. Tom Hayward. Bone. He makes a phone order 20 minutes before they come in. A lot of people do that when they have so little time for lunch. He grinned. Dennis had never hidden his contempt for uncivilized English lunch breaks. In France, they lasted for hours. The boss probably has more time, so he walks here and comes in the front door. Justine gets behind the wheel, parks behind us in the courtyard, and comes in the back door. She goes into the women's restroom. There, I think she takes off her bra and maybe her culottes. He hands over his phone again. Sure enough, the bra of the day was missing. They always pick a table away from the window, and she takes her shoes off. I think she's playing soccer under the tablecloth. Footsie? Yes. And his hand is always there, too. You can guess where he puts it. Yeah. He pays cash, and they leave out the back door and get in her car. My waiters say they have 5 minutes for kissing and foreplay. Foreplay? He shrugged. A Frenchman could say a lot with a shrug. She didn't recognize you? No. She's only seen me a few times since your wedding, and now I've lost my mustache. I begin a thorough search, all the usual places, but no sign of stockings or new underwear. I suppose that's unlikely if she usually takes them off. I check the laundry basket. Halfway down is the familiar panties and bra. And then I notice it, a tiny black hair. I close my eyes and visualize the scene. She's lying on a desk, at work somewhere, and he's making love to her. Justine has a high-profile job. Not long ago, her firm was sued by a disgruntled employee who had an accident at work. Now they've gotten into occupational health and safety, and Justine has taken over as head of occupational health and safety. The following Monday, she announces that she has been selected for a health and safety refresher course. She will leave for Leeds on Tuesday and Wednesday evenings and return to work on Thursday lunchtime. Tom is also on the course and will drive them in his company car. I'm secretly excited. This is my chance to get better evidence. If she plays away from home, she'll burn out. So will he. I have to take notes so I can inform the department when I return. What hotel are you staying at? We haven't been told yet. You know Browning Industries, they leave everything to the last minute. You can always reach me on my cell phone. Sure, no problem. I knew it was bullshit. After the trial, her company was very well organized. A call to Browning Industries' Human Resources Department. Sorry to bother you, but some of my employees are confused about the H&S course. What is the venue? Pause. Sorry, but we don't have an H&S course. Did you mean the sales seminar in Leeds? Of course. My mistake. Thanks for your help. I know they're not going on the sales course, so there's no reason for them to travel as far as Leeds. So where are they going to go? Dennis, I need a favor. Have Hayward and my wife dined at the Blue Guitar this week? Not yet, no. My men are keeping an eye on them. Do you need any more pictures? Not really. Tell me, how hard can it be? I told him what I needed, and he laughed out loud. Mon ami, you have no idea how easy it is. I will contact you when I have what you want. I met him at the Hive 2 days later. They're staying overnight Tuesday through Wednesday at Threshold Lodge, just north of Gloucester. There's poor security there. Video surveillance at reception and in the hallways, but nothing in the parking lot. Here are his keys. Dennis, that's amazing. I know you're supposed to keep trade secrets, but how did you manage to get them? No secrets from you, my friend. I have a new customer service in my restaurants. A gentleman puts his jacket on the back of his chair, a lady her purse. My waiters put a pouch with my logo on it. It keeps the food from spilling on them. Nice touch. It's easy to take his wallet and keys out of his jacket for 20 minutes. The wallet holds a hotel reservation, credit card, driver's license, and license plate number. The keys are copied, and then everything is replaced. You're a star! I have people I know at Threshold Lodge who will see to it that they are assigned room 108 and set up surveillance this weekend. The images will be transferred to your laptop. Brilliant! I definitely owe you one now. Ray, one of my guys will be nearby. And you don't owe me anything, John. This is the best entertainment I've had in my entire life. I bought him another beer, and he handed me the keys to another car. Ford Focus Red in the Blue Guitar parking lot. Come back when you're done. On Saturday, Justine returned from the store with a new case, a roll-along dusty pink with a retractable handle. I decided to use it for a trip to Leeds. We keep saying we need a new one. That night, we made love. It was probably my last opportunity. She usually stays in the shower long after we've finished. Tom picked her up that morning. They were supposed to be in Gloucester on Tuesday afternoon. I tried to stay away from the door so he wouldn't see me. He probably wouldn't recognize me, but it was better to be reassured. At work, I checked on my laptop their arrival at the hotel. They made love once as soon as they got to the room. I don't know where they went after lunch. What to do in Gloucester. I picked up the anonymous Focus after work, drove to Threshold Lodge and parked so I could see Tom's car. It was already getting dark. On my laptop, I watched them on the bed again. Same red stockings, but they just kissed and groped each other, and then presumably went to dinner. I waited about an hour, put on my gloves, and pulled up the hood of my jacket. I then walked over to his BMW, unlocked the driver's door, and left it open. I went back to my car and checked on them again. They went back to the room. Tom had undressed and was lying on the bed naked. They made love. As expected, she headed for the bathroom. It would take a while. The game was on. Putting on my gloves, hood up again, I ran up to room 108 and knocked on the door. He was wearing very few clothes. "What's the matter?" "Mr. Hayward, come here quickly. Someone has broken into your car. The police are on their way." He jumped outside in his bathrobe and slippers. I slipped into the room and taped up the bathroom door. Then I stuffed all their clothes into suitcases. I looked around one last time, but none of their stuff was left in the room. When I got to the BMW, Tom was coughing and lying with the driver's door half open. The shadowy figure of Ray, one of Dennis's special friends, stood there holding a can of mace. We dragged a groaning Tom over so that he was on his knees against the side of the car. He spit all over the seat. Ray disappeared to the hotel to take hidden cameras. Meanwhile, Tom tried to get up. After making sure no one was around, I kneeled him down so that his head was right in front of the car door and then slammed it shut. There was a satisfying crunch, and he went quiet. I examined him carefully. He was unconscious. Blood was oozing from one ear. I slammed the door 2 more times. "You want to make love to another man's wife?" "In my wildest dreams." I carried their suitcases back to the Ford and checked my cargo. I removed all her money and his. I didn't need them, but their luggage might turn up someday. Better if it looked like a robbery. Everything else was returned, and I left. I had not gone far before I found a quiet spot by a river, probably a tributary of the Severn. I threw Justine's suitcase into the water and watched it float for a while before sinking. Near Hereford, an unlocked construction skip swallowed Tom's bag. When I returned, I parked the Ford behind the blue guitar. The sweatshirt and gloves remained there. Dennis would find a use for them. Then I slipped the car keys into an envelope and, as agreed, sent them out the front door of the restaurant. By the time I got home, it was late, but I still had a few things to do. First of all, I sent a phone message to Justine. "Hey, babe, haven't heard from you all day. How are you? How's Leeds? Is your training going well? Love you." I watched the World Snooker Championships, which I videotaped while I was away from home. So by the time it was over, it was late. I then wiped the tape, put it back in the player, and set it to record the late movie. The story made the papers, but not television. The police were baffled. The hotel's surveillance cameras showed a hooded figure luring Mr. Hayward out of his room. The same person then entered the room and stole 2 bags. Meanwhile, someone brutally attacked Mr. Hayward in the parking lot. The newspaper suggested, though did not claim, that an extramarital affair might be involved. The door of House 108 was left open, and an accomplice, also wearing a hoodie, entered. But what he was doing was unclear, as he came out of the lodge empty-handed. A short time later, a naked woman was discovered in the bathroom. The door had been taped shut. The newspapers hinted that she may have been abused, but did not give her name. They did, however, report that she was not Mr. Hayward's wife. He was in a critical condition at Gloucester Hospital. He had suffered a brain hemorrhage and was put into an induced coma. He had lost one ear, and it was feared that he would not make a full recovery. I later learned that his wife had not bothered to visit him. The police called me and told me that the naked woman in Gloucester was my wife. When she came home, I pretended to be shocked by her cheating and got angry. She packed her things and left. I think she went to her mother's house. I decided it would be best if I got rid of her without using the footage of her cheating. I told her about it before I left, but I don't think she realized how difficult it would be for me to explain it in divorce court. The police, of course, suspected me because an abusive husband is always a person of interest, but I claimed to have been watching snooker all night. Yes, of course I could describe it, and the next movie. My phone message to Justine spoke of my innocence. Well, at least my ignorance. And my 3 neighbors confirmed that my living room light was on late at night and my Volvo never left the driveway. I know they are out there somewhere, but the bags were never found. My divorce later took place around the same time as Mrs. Hayward's. It wouldn't be entirely ethical to use the same lawyer, but we ran into each other a few times. She's great. I called her when the absolute ruling came in and asked if she wanted to have dinner. Maybe we could alleviate our disappointment by having dinner and a couple bottles of wine. We went to the Blue Guitar. Isn't life a strange thing? The end.